It's your boy Young Love, I give him that time. Pancho leg stay the Panchi America, Panji Dwal, Pancho leg stay the Panchi America, Panji Dwal, Ban walk on the lake, Kankara water no watching, Koga level leg, gear, bow, very leg, Panda with Yay, Panchi America, Panya Dwalabano, Chingatonga Pandon, could you ever buy a check out, Papu Panda Jiro, what they be Dwalaventing. Stay the Panchi America, Panji Dwal, Pancha leg stay the Panchi America, Panji Dwal, Ban walk on the lake, Kankara water no watching, Koga level leg, gear, bow, very leg, Panda with Yay, Panchi America, Panya Dwalabano, Chingatonga Pandon, could you ever buy a check out, Papu Panda Jiro, what they be Dwalaventing.
Thank you so much. Our viewers, wherever you are tuning in, welcome to Lagos State Media Beyond Boundaries. And in the studio with us is our guest, Honorable Lual Dau. Honorable Lual Dau is a member of SSUF and members of Non-Signatories, South Sudan opposition groups. And on the same note, they are also members of Rome peace negotiation. Honorable Lual will touch many things in regard to their positions as SSUF, and will also tell us and brief people about the positions and the step of a roundtable peace talk or initiative, which was initiated by non-signatories. And he will tell us how far they have gone in regard to the Rome issue and what are the steps to be taken by their party and by their group, as whole out group, as being referred to by Juba regime. Honorable Lual, you are highly welcome to Lagos State Media Beyond Boundaries. I will give you a chance to give us your opening remarks before we move to our conversation. Thank you.
First of all, thank you, Majong Makur, for the opportunity to be invited by Lagos State Media. I am very happy to be here, and I look forward to interact with you and your viewers. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that remark. That is indeed what many people refer to opening remarks. Thank you for that. Honorable Lual, can you tell us exactly your background in terms of politics? And thereafter, we'll go to the issue of roundtable. That since you have initiated the roundtable as a group, what are the steps that you have taken? And what is your appeal currently to the Juba regime? Thank you, Honorable.
Well, first of all, I start my political activism as a member of the SPLM in what Dr. John Garang later on named as Seventh Front in diaspora. We were among the first South Sudanese who opened SPLM office in the US and across the United States. And that's where we work with our community members, with the movement at the time, until the peace agreement was signed in 2005. After that, I went home back to South Sudan, and I was privileged to work as a state minister of agriculture and forestry in northern Bahar Ghazal state. Worked there for some time. We did what needed to be done in the area of agriculture, because that's my background. And when the country was divided into 28 states, I became a deputy governor of a Devang state called Lual State. And that's where I served until I resigned from the government in 2017. And from there, I've joined the opposition groups, which is South Sudan United Front, Army under leadership of General Paul Malong, the former chief of staff of the SPLM and the currently commander-in-chief of South Sudan Front. That is my background.
Yeah, thank you so much, Honorable Lual. Indeed, you have really helped and you have really served the nation before you joined the opposition group, which is South Sudan United Front or United Army under General Malongawan. You know, Honorable, you have been with Malong for the last almost 4 years now or 5. And the peace talk between your group and the government, which was initiated since earlier as 2018, 2019, up to now 2020, and nothing has been seen by the citizen of the country, and even the peace grantors themselves. And recently, you formed non-signatories, South Sudan Opposition Group. And we are very much aware as Lagos State media that you are part and parcel of that group. It is a joint of more than 20 different political parties. Since then up to now, as non-signatories, your agenda was basically a round table with the Juba government. You were not interested with the extensions of transitional period, but you were seeking for a chance to sit on the round table, and then you talk in order to chart the way forward. Kindly, Honorable, can you brief the public about the roundtable conference and what are modalities that you have laid on the ground in order to convince international communities and the peace grantors to intervene and also to allow Juba regime to sit on the table with you and discuss and listen to you? Thank you.
You know, when the revitalized peace agreement was signed in Khartoum, we felt that agreement will not bring peace and stability to our people. And the entire agreement was not implemented. While they were trying to implement that agreement, the government and us will be negotiating a settlement, a peace agreement through Rome Initiative. And our agenda through that peace talk, really we were focusing on the reform, not positions. And that took a long time for the government to accept that. Now, after some times, until when the government extended it, our problem is not about extension. If anything can be extended if need be. But the problem, how are you going to extend it, and what are you going to do differently to achieve the extension? That's the issue, you know. So we came up with the idea of a round table conference. And the genesis of the round table conference, Brother Majok Makur, really is the fact that when South Sudan became independent on July 9, 2011, one of our uncle, a veteran politician, Isaiah Kurang, at the day people were celebrating, this was reported by many people. After the celebration in Juba, and everyone was happy, some South Sudanese politicians went home and they start talking about, you know, people are shouting, people are happy. Of course, there was independence. So Uncle Isaiah Klong asked a very important question. He said, since 1956, since the independence of South Sudan, Sudan then, when we were all Sudan, he said the only thing that used to unite us as a people of South Sudan was our hatred towards Jalaba. Now we have separated from Jalaba, we have our country called Republic of South Sudan. Then he asked, what unite us now? That question was not answered in July 9. And because it was not answered, you know exactly what happened in our country in 2013. You know what happened in 2015. I don't need to go there to waste time. But clearly you can see there is no stability because there is nothing unite us as a people of South Sudan. And I strongly believe if we don't answer the question of our Uncle Isaiah and give a correct answer as a people of South Sudan, I am quite sure that the country will face a lot of challenges. So a lot of agreement were signed between the government and the opposition groups. And the only one common thing, all the opposition group will look for opposition. You get the position, you get into the government. And when you are removed, whatever situation happens, another crisis will evolve in the country. So we felt like we need to come up with something different. And something different in our view is a roundtable conference. What is it really, the roundtable conference? Roundtable is a very simple idea. We have decided first to join all the opposition group together. So the non-signatories actually began with 6 opposition groups. Then we expanded to include all those of all the opposition group, including PCCA of those of Abraham Olich and Kwela Kwela and the rest, Rajab Mohandes and Akal. We have include other opposition groups. We have also include a lot of South Sudanese professional and academia. Many of them are well-known South Sudanese intellectuals who have many ideas on how we can reform our country. So as you put it, more than 20 opposition groups came together, and we came together now under the umbrella what we call NCF, which stands for National Consensus Forum. In the National Consensus Forum, from the name you can see what we need is a consensus. Everyone is involved. So what we are going to do, we are going to extend an invitation to South Sudanese church leaders, South Sudanese faith-based organization, most leaders, we are going to need women to be part of it. We are going to need youth to be part of it. And all the political groups in the country, whether opposition group in the country, and including the government, by the way, nobody is left behind. We all need to sit as a people of South Sudan. And we are going to sit in a neutral place, a place where we will be sitting in a round table, in an equal table. And then answer the simple question that I said earlier. As a people of South Sudan, what unites us? As a people of South Sudan, we have lost more than 3 million to have the country called Republic of South Sudan. Now, what is it? What kind of country we need? And that the country that we lost so many of our dear people. If we answer that truthfully and honestly, then we should conclude that we need a country in which all of us have a very strong and a permanent constitution that respects the right of everyone in the country. We need a country that we need to build our institution so that we have a strong and viable institution in the country. For example, we should have a country where we have a very lean government in the top. That, for example, just for the sake of argument, you have like 11 ministers or so. And that headed by a president and maybe and a vice president. Only one, not 5, because we don't feel like we need 5 vice presidents for the country to function. Even big countries like United States and China, they have only one vice president. What is it in our country that require 5 vice presidents? We don't see a reason. So you have a lean government that has president, vice president, maybe 11 ministers who are technocrats. And that's the government we call a government of technocrat and hybrid. And the mandate of that government is to develop a permanent constitution, make sure that our refugees return home, make sure that the census is carried out so that we know how many are we as a people of South Sudan. We also make sure that government works to develop the issue of all these issues of peace and reconciliation, healing and forgiveness, justice, transitional justice and accountability. Because a lot of people, we have done so many bad stuff to ourselves during days of struggle and until we have our country. Those things require us to sit as sons and daughters of one family. We sit there. If someone commit mistake, commit crime, that person must face justice. If someone and whoever receives justice now will decide whether to forgive that person or not. Those are the things that will bring us together as a people of South Sudan. Then you have also a small numbers of MPs. Not definitely 650 is way too much. We cannot afford 650, and I don't even know what they are going to discuss. So we may come up with some numbers. Let's say maybe 50 MPs. Should be enough for a country like ours, because the idea is that you need to make sure that the money that you have are going straight to the development, not to the pocket of politicians. The government has been taking care of politicians for a very long time. Time has come for the service, for the government now to start taking care of the population, our people, our citizens. So And then that small MPs have a clear mandate of making sure that all these ministers have to report to the assembly in case of any misappropriation of fund or whatever it might be. Have a strong MPs, like MPs from many countries that we see, the free countries. And then you have to have a strong judiciary that is independent from anybody, that executed everyone based on laws, based on regulations. So, for example, if we talk about eliminating or fighting corruption, you are not going to fight it by a person. You are going to fight it by building a strong institution. For instance, if you have a minister who steals money, who is accused of stealing money, what will do, the speaker will write to the president and ask him that your minister X has misappropriated funds. And now, as MPs, we need him to come to the parliament to clarify himself. And the president should allow that person to go, because now he's accused. When he goes to the parliament will ask him, Mr. X, you have been accused of stealing $3 million, whatever the issue is. And then he will have to go there and defend himself. If MPs are convinced that that ex-minister is innocent, then the man is free to go back to his work. If they found evidence that person indeed steal money, now they will recommend to the president, please remove impunity on this gentleman, let him face justice. And then the police, based on the order from judiciary, from judge, they will issue the warrant of arrest. The minister will be arrested, go to the court of law. If he's found guilty, then that person will go to jail. If our country starts behaving like that, I'm sure nobody will steal money, because you know that if you steal money, you are going to go to jail, and the money will be taken away from you. So why should you steal if you know that you are not going to get away with the money? So this is just an example of the thing that we need to discuss on a roundtable conference. That we need to build a strong institution that are going to be helping our people. So and then through roundtable, after we do all that issues through roundtable, what we did, and that was our next question, was what are we doing to make sure that government become parts of it and convince the rest of South Sudanese to be there. This month we went to Rome and we met with Sant'Egidio. We met with Vatican. We met with diplomats and embassies of our region within region of Africa. We met members of Troikas, US, UK, and Norway. And all of them, we share with them the idea of roundtable. It is an inclusive process that is for everyone. Every South Sudanese is going to be part of it. I am happy to inform you that the international community was very, very positive about it. They were very happy, and they are going to do whatever needed to be done to support the process. That is where we are now. And through Lagos State Media, I am appealing to the government and to the oppositions group within the country, to youth and women, to join us through a roundtable conference in a neutral country. And the reason we are appealing for a neutral place, because we want South Sudanese to talk freely. You know, you come from wherever you go, you talk freely, you say what need to be said. And hopefully from there, we will have a successful roundtable.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Honorable Lual, for that elaboration and also informing citizens of South Sudan on what your intentions is, the way forward, and the step that you have already taken. You said the initiative of Roundtable Conference is basically to engage with the government, engage with the public, in order to strengthen the institutions in our country, also the rule of law, and to reduce this bureaucratic government, which is formed, which was actually a result of peace negotiation or peace agreement between government of South Sudan and the rebel by then, headed by Dr. Yak, another group like SOA and OPP. You have mentioned the large parliaments, and you know, Honorable, very well, it will not be easy for you. That's why I want to know exactly how will you convince this government? When there were rumors that the government is planning to extend the period to another 2 years, people were so uncomfortable with it. But at the end, the government is huge, and everyone from president to the commissioner, all of them agree to that because they know the more you extend it period, the more they stay long in the offices. So it was so challenging to the public or to the citizen to challenge the decision where some of even your relatives are in that government and you are beneficiaries of that government. So how will you convince this huge government to reduce it? Are you telling us as roundtable initiators that the agreement will no longer be in place, the revitalized peace agreement that is currently running the affairs of our country? If that's what you are trying to tell us, and if that is the case, do you believe 650 MPs will accept this, both houses, the lower and the upper houses, also at the state level? Do you agree that more than 30 ministers will agree with this? Do you believe 5 vice presidents will accept this? Apart from other lucrative positions that are now being held by some of these government officials. And remember, someone with the power and money is not easy to deal with. What are the criterions that you will convince this government to throw away the agreement and embrace your idea as roundtable? Thank you.
You know, brother Majuk, this is a very good question. We know it's not easy. Some of us have worked in government with senior positions. Those of us in opposition, you may know. I don't need to tell them. Most of them were senior government officials in the Republic of South Sudan. So we know being a senior government, it comes with huge benefit. Also, we are not saying you go and we are going to replace you. That's not what we are saying. Because if we say that, they will say, why you don't want us and you want to be the one continue. We are just simply saying, my brothers and sisters, look, we cannot afford it. This is simple mathematics. You can stay, you may love to have a mansion, you know. You yourself now with your family, you would love to have a mansion, okay? Maybe with 6, 7, 10 bedrooms and bathroom and whatever. That's something you love to have. But I'm sure because for some reason, maybe you are going to school, you cannot afford it now, you find a small house, which may be 3 bedroom or something that you can afford. That's the logic in economics, because economics is in numbers. They don't lie. Okay. Now, this huge government, it comes with a cost. When you have a president, because the country, of course, have to have a president, and the country, of course, has a vice president, which will act in event the president travel or whatever. I get that. But then, do we really have to have 5 vice presidents? The answer is no. Okay, if we don't have to have it, then my brother, who are vice president, the rest will be asked to come with me, to join me, okay, so that we go along with the rest of MPs, the other 600 and the 30 ministers that you are saying. All of them can join me, and I will take them to Rang. We can do farming, agriculture for some time. Okay? You don't have to be in government in order to live, to be honest with you. Our people need to know that. Okay? All of these people will be in government, but we cannot be all of us in government at the same time. Okay? It has to be one president at a time, it has to be one vice president at a time, it has to be some ministers at a time. That's what we really need to do. It was not against them. Okay? Now, when you do that, when you have a lean government and you have a strong institution that will make sure the money are directed to where they are supposed to go, you know what will happen? Then the citizen now will start get services. For example, you know, just a couple of months, a few days ago, you have heard in social media that each MP was giving $15,000. I know the MPs, as someone who works in the government, they are struggling. They need money, to be honest with you. Okay? I'm sure most of them, 90% of those people did not go to hospital. They end up using those money to catch up with some bills, some family issues. I completely understand. Okay? But, Brother Majuk, if you multiply 15,000 times 650 MPs, you are talking about 9 million something, if you do simple math. If you take that 9 million US dollars, if I give you that $9 million and say, Majuk, go to Rumbek and build a first modern class, top class hospital, it will cost less than that. You are going to have a modern hospital, which will treat all these MPs, their family. They can have a private wing where they will go and be treated. And there will be another wing for public, so that if a common man, a normal person is sick, can go there to get treatment. Okay? This is how you help the citizen. Now you give all the MP money, they will go spend those money in Uganda, Khartoum, Nairobi, and they will come back. We don't have hospital. Then for how long are we going to do that? These are the simple things we are telling ourselves. You know, we've been doing this for a very long time. This is what we've been doing since 2005. Now we need to do something different. You cannot do that with a huge government. So, to me, if it is okay for every South Sudanese to become a minister, or every South Sudanese become vice president, every South Sudanese become an MP, and it is affordable, I have no problem with it. But we cannot afford it as a country. So how do you expect us to continue doing exactly the same thing and expect a different result? the result and the outcome will be the same. Let me tell you. So, because of economic situation, all we need to convince in all this noise is not these people, is the president of the country. If President Salva Kiir accept the round table, accept a lean government, everyone in the country will accept it. Okay? Because he is the most powerful person in the country now, to be honest with you. And if he says this is to be done, it will be done. It's simple as that. So we hope the president will join us in a roundtable conference, accept these ideas. That will actually help him even to function more. And because I'm sure he's tired of this. Imagine he's a president, he has to deal with 5 vice presidents, he has to deal with more than 40 ministers, he has to deal with 600 MPs. All of these people would like to see him. You have to deal with more than commissions. On top of that, you have 10 governors, you have special the man himself is tired, you know. So having even a lean government is good for the president to have more time for himself and his family, you know. So it's not a bad idea at all, and the citizen of South Sudan need to join us on this, because this is going to be their government, you know. And the government, you cannot continue to allow some people to make sure that they are vice president, they are ministers, and they are MPs, and the citizens are suffering. Who is more? Is it 1,000 people that serve the government, or 12 million people are more? Of course, 12 million people are more than and they are suffering. Is country going to take care of 12 million, or we are going to take care of 1,000 people of us? You know, this is including me. I would like to be a minister. I would like to be a vice president. I'd be happy to do that, but the country cannot afford it. Okay, so for time being, I can go farming. For time being, I can do anything. I can go teach. Okay, in one of the schools, I can teach in Juba University. I can teach anywhere. That's fine. It doesn't mean that I cannot be part of government. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, I can be in government. This is the same government, but it's going to be a lean government that will accommodate all of us. So this is a fact. We cannot afford this. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable. Actually, you are right that President Kiir is the only person, once he accepts the idea of round table, then the rest will follow him. But the challenge now is that the people whom the president is leading will not allow him to accept anything that will endanger their position. And I think that is where the challenge might come from. But the issue of roundtable is a good idea. Anything that prioritizes the suffering of innocent South Sudanese citizens always pay much attention to that. But at the end, they don't even deliver services to the citizen, because the peace agreement, which was negotiated in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and signed in Khartoum, citizens were so much excited that this agreement will deliver something to us. And indeed, after the agreement was signed, it gave birth to this bureaucratic government, 5 vice presidents, and huge parliaments. And citizens were like, people will no longer die in our areas. There will be no killing. After all of them came to Juba, killing become like a daily issue. And citizens were like, what will happen and what will this government provide to us? They believe they will provide services to them according to what they said. But comparing the government of 5 vice presidents, more than 600 MPs, with only 2 billion GDP. And the only debt from China, only China alone, is more than our GDP other country, apart from the loan that our government is now taking in part of Middle East, that is Arab world. So it's very hard, if you, as you have made the calculation of our MPs, that is around 9.7 million US dollars rather. Of course, it was given to them as a token of medical facilitation. And to surprise, some of them did not even go to hospitals since they received those money. The only thing they do best is to buy iPhone, buy the latest car, then they move to East African countries. And that's why you see many citizens now are trying to talk, at least to tell them what you have done is not good. You cannot choose yourself over the citizen. And yet, civil servants have not yet been paid even now. Myself, I'm one of the lecturers at Upper Nile University, and we are yet to receive our salary of 3 months. I'm not even talking about doctors. I'm not even talking about civil servants themselves. So basically, citizens now sees your initiative as another way of you getting into the government and creating more position for you. How will you convince those citizens, Honorable Wal? Because citizens are seeing Roundtable as another way of creating another 2 vice presidents to be given to you, and even the post of prime minister, and even to add around 5 ministers, new ministers or ministries to be created in order to accommodate you, other members of Roundtable or members of non-signatory South Sudan opposition group. And also, it will create another column of giving you percentage of MPs to join the 2 houses, the upper house and the lower house. How will you convince these people? And if you said you are talking to them in order to reduce the government and you will not be part of it, then what will be your benefit of you negotiating or you coming up with this initiative? Thank you, Honorable.
Let me first talk about President Kiir, and you said it correctly, that is the only person who has power. If he accepted the round table and move on, he joined Anyanya 1. He again joined the SPLM. Actually, he was one of the founders of the SPLA. You and I and all South Sudanese will agree with me that President Kiir did not do that because of to come and take care of only 1,000 people who are vice presidents and ministers and MPs. He did it because he cared about the citizen of South Sudan who was marginalized by Jalaba. That was his main, I am 100% sure that's his main intention. Okay, I know him. Okay, that's his intention. The same thing that he fought for, this is what we are reminding him, so that he does his job. Now, if you talk about for us as a way to negotiate ourselves to power, honestly, we don't need a round table to get that. We can get that through Rome Peace Initiative if we want, and the government will be happy to do that for us. Okay, the government will give us vice president, will give us MPs, will give us whatever we want, and some of us will check ourselves in, become MPs, become ministers, and become vice president. We can get that. Okay, but then the question is, if that's what we want, we can get it there. We don't get a round table. Round table is not a place to distribute positions. Roundtable is a people's initiative. It's for citizens of South Sudan. And we have proposed, we said that this government of hybrid / technocrat, someone like you who is a lecturer in the university, if you don't have a political party, then you qualify as a technocrat. Now we will find out what did you study. If you have, for example, PhD in mining, whatever you have, that person is qualified to be a minister of petroleum. Okay. Now he's just a technocrat. You have nothing to do with politics. Your job is to make sure that we have enough production, okay, so that we have huge income in our oil sector. Because I'm sure if that minister is headed by someone who's technocrat, you may go and look for another, an American company who probably has a better technology, and you can produce more oil than what we are producing now. Okay, that's the benefit of technocrat. So this is, we are just giving an example. So we are asking for technocrat. Technocrat are not going to be us, because us are some of our oppositions. We were part of the government. Okay, we held positions, so we are not technocrats. The technocrats are normal South Sudanese citizens. Now, these are the people who will, because the president said that, you know, he has not found people to work for him. Okay, if that is the case, technocrat now are the people who will work. Okay, maybe for sake of argument, it will be led by anybody. But maybe for the sake of peace, that hybrid technocrat government can be led by President Kiir and deputized maybe by Riek and 11 ministers who are technocrat. But then there is another condition. The other condition within Roundtable Conference is that if you agree to serve in a government of a transitional period after Roundtable, then you are not going to run in the next election. Because the idea the reason we came up with that idea, because we want to make sure that you are there to implement a specific task and leave. Because if you are there to implement specific tasks and you are going to run for the election, that is what we call conflict of interest. Okay. To avoid that conflict of interest, now let us have people who are only technocrat, who are willing to just implement the program. And at the end of that interim period, people go for election. And some of us who were in opposition, some who were in the government, some who think they are the smart people, they are popular and all this, now need to go compete with the rest so that they get the mandate from the people of South Sudan. Okay? That's where everyone will compete in the election. And that's where we can compete. So this government of technocrat that will come out as a result of Roundtable, for us is not going, we are not going to be part of it, to be honest with you. And that's the evidence. We are not negotiating ourselves to get into the power. In fact, we are talking to make sure some of people are removed from the government because the government is too big.
Thank you, Honorable, for that. Can you clarify one thing to the public and especially our viewers? And kindly, our viewers, you can, if you did not share this interview on your wall, I'm kindly requesting you to do so in order for your colleague to listen to the perspective and the thoughts of Honorable Lual in regard to the Roundtable and the peace talk between All Out Group and the Juba regime. You said earlier that you went to Rome 2 weeks ago or last month. Can you make it crystal clear? You went to Rome simply because you want to resume the previous negotiation with the government, or you went Rome to lobby for Roundtable Conference? Thank you.
No, we went to Rome to lobby for the Roundtable Conference. That was the reason we went to Rome. For negotiation with the government, we don't need to go to Rome. We normally get invited because it is an ongoing process. Normally, we get invitation, we go there, we attend the talks. We don't need to go to Rome to talk about peace talks. The only reason we went there to tell Sant'Egidio, because they were really helping us with peace process, that what we need now is a roundtable conference. And we actually asked them to be one of people who can facilitate it. Because in order to facilitate this huge number of people, it requires funding, So we are asking them to be part of people who could do that if they are willing to do so, And that's what took us to Vatican, because Vatican now is very important to us as the people of South Sudan. You have seen the gesture that was done by Pope when he kissed the feet of our leaders. He did it so that we at least we reflect more and do something for our people. So we have to go share with them, and we share it with Troika. This is part of international community. And we will continue to reach out. We are going to travel to the region. We also met, by the way, with EU representative. So we are going to go to the region. We are going to talk to. We are selling the same thing now to the people of South Sudan. That's what I'm doing here, talking to our people, because this is your initiative. We are going to go everywhere and make sure everyone is part of it. So that's the reason we went to Rome, is to lobby for funding and for the roundtable conference.
Thank you for that clarification. Yeah, at least now our citizens are convinced that your mission to Rome was to lobby for Roundtable Initiative and to sell your objectives so that international community, the region, and South Sudanese can support your initiative. Now, we are done with the issue of Roundtable. Can we move quickly to only one question to your party, South Sudan United Front, Stock Army? There are allegations that you are planning to amalgamate your forces with other forces as South Sudan United Front, at the like of Thomas Cirillo, the like of Stephen Boy, the like of Simon Gadwich of Kitgwang. Can you make it clear to the public, do you have that plan of joining your forces and have one unified forces as the all-out group, plus the current rebels in Juba, or in South Sudan rather? Thank you.
That's a very good question. But honestly, our goal as a people of South Sudan, our goal really within SSUF and in National Consensus Forum is to make sure that we push for roundtable conference. That's our overall goal now. That's our plan A, that's our plan B, that's our plan C. Because it's less costly. If we are able to sit as brothers and sisters and reach a consensus, inclusiveness, that will be good for all of us. And that is our priority now. If that one is refused, then I don't know what will happen. And I'd rather wait for that time to talk about these issues when is the right time for it. Because you cannot talk about war and talk about peace at the same time. You have to choose one. And my mouth now is full of peace, it's full of reconciliation, it's full of consensus, it's full of inclusivity, it's full of togetherness. Because our people have suffered so much. After all, fighting, only us are the people who will die in that fight. It is us, people of South Sudan. And you might have realized I've been talking now for almost an hour. And I'm not talking about what the government is doing wrong. It's not because they are not doing anything wrong, but because this is what we've been saying for all these years. Enough. Now everyone knows what is going on in the country. I don't need to sit here and tell you what the government is doing wrong. We have come with ideas. What needs to be done? Okay, and this is the opposition that we are pushing now through National Consensus Forum. We are focusing on ideas that will help us as the people of South Sudan come together and help our country.
Thank you, Honorable, for that. It's true, indeed, you cannot chew on both sides. At the same time, talking about war, at the same time, talking about peace. That's good. We will defer that question, and you cannot even preempt on something that you don't even have in your schedule or in your plans as the opposition or whole-out group. Yeah, I'm rightly informed that we have 2 questions from comment section. They will be displayed here, and then you will answer them. And then we'll move to the clubhouse, at least to pick 2 or 3 questions before we end our conversation. And to our viewers, the message is clear. Honorable Lual came here to disseminate the information of Roundtable Conference and to inform citizens of South Sudan and the general public and the world at large that the Roundtable is the only antidote to the challenges of our country. Yes, I'm rightly informed too that there are no more questions. Kindly, you can try Clubhouse. If there is any questions in Clubhouse, we can you can open the forum, Abramadit, and let 2 or 3 people post their questions to Honorable Lual before we close our show. Abramadit? Yeah, thank you. It seems there are no questions too on the side of Clubhouse. And if that is the case.
Okay. Okay, David Amor, we have a question. Go ahead. Isaac, can you go ahead and open? David, go ahead. Open your mic, please. Thank you.
Somebody is using 2 devices, so you need to mute one device because there is a lot of echoes in the studio. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. And bijam to monja. To gyaikel. I check nyaga the bear, but to monjang. Didn't what nyaga bear. What is the difference between a round table and the Rome Initiative? Based on this interview, Lual Dau Marach. Kalawang simple because of a five vice presidents, well, Kalawang because of exclusivity, and he's introducing now yani keachol ke lean government or technocrat. What are these terms? A which government majipinum by technocrat pinum aliu. Kakayan monjang en kawen yin kwaja na chupoch kwache be poch. Political parties ake nong akuma ya kwany bin by much. The technocrat even in financial Vatican na much by technocrat. Kon maji na to Vatican. So kakaban ya tiengin they are not serious because rebel check much and take a game thing kana. Aku kan even the so-called technocrat or 11 ministers or what war jail ke jail war chin malong nya bil fam nong do lo kule je malong chan bijala bet ke technocrat ka ache ka loy I jam it then koi ke loy push.
David, you are an ambassador. Please talk in English.
No, please. I was born a Dinka. I'm not born an ambassador.
Yes, Honorable David, I just agree with that. You need to speak in English, please, such that we have more viewers who doesn't speak Dinka.
Okay, let them speak, then I will not speak unless I speak Dinka. Go ahead.
Go ahead with your Dinka. Go, because it's a Dinka nation. Go ahead.
Tell Ganas Gadin Bawono so I rutan. Yala teji tam lene to shish. Now, okay, let me just speak in whatever language. So, the so-called technocrat, this group, when they rebel because of exclusivity. They did not rebel to go to school in order for them to become a technocrat so that they can come and rule the country. That is one, according to this interview. Second, each and every part of our country must be represented, simply because we don't need others to cry later on that they were left out. So even if you have the 12 million MPs, you know, it will be much more better than having 12 people shooting or killing people in the farms. You see. So what we are fighting here is not who comes from where and who does not have a qualification to be represented. What we are fighting is the settlement, the security of our people, such that people can farm, such that people can live in their own life. Wars are enough. We have so many leaders. But for the thing for themselves, that's why they said, we need to lobby for a round table. What is the difference between a round table and the initiative of peace agreement? So I fail to understand how can they convince even the so-called international community, because what they are talking about is it's not existing. It's just an illusion. Oh, we'll have 12 ministers, we'll have 15 MPs. Why were the MPs were given money? Now, even in America there's an MP equalized, or I don't know. An MP must be kept because he's a member of parliament. He has to have a car. He has to have a house because he's working. He's respected. You see, he's representing more than 700 people of his own geographical constituency. He's an MP. Ma bugulu haya MP dem fruit kan isawi zol buketu fi makana fi konyo na or fi village. No, the MP. فأنا ما بقول شديد and one thing I just want to mention is that let them all come في بلد كل الناس غني في ناس كتير ذاته ما دايرين يشتغلوا في حكومات ديل زول بس داير يزرع ياكل بشغل تاع يده بتو لكن برود بقول تلقى في زراعة بتو for no reason لما جروا هنا في جوبا ملون شال كم قروش في باك بتو وفي بنك بتو واكل كم ناس كله ف thank God ما في زول بدو من بتلقى. That's why they go there and make noise. Italo there hakuma taale kale na simsi fi tikabat. Tamsi beled bitakum beled الولود فوقه. ما في زول بمشي بجداولو اسود في هلا or في اي محل تاني غير ريز واحد بس. ايزي او جنوبين برو جداولو لكن باقي تاني اللينا ده كلنا اي زول بمشي بلد بتو. عشان يمشي يجي من هناك. عشان اكاذيب ده كله انتهى. زول بيمشي بيلقى نفسه قال ولا انا داير اكون في حكومه انت تكون في حكومه في هاتو تمثيليه. Do you have a geographical constituency? If you have a political geographical constituency, then why are you complaining of the MPs that they were too many? They have to be. Shanai Junubi must be represented. And I'm sorry if I may have had some of you. I'm sorry for that. Go ahead.
Thank you. To our viewers, let me let you know that the person who was asking questions and making remarks is Ambassador Senator David Amor. He was the one asking questions and also to know that what is the difference between Rome, peace talk, and roundtable. And he mentioned the issue of MPs. Why should people complain about the money given to MPs? Yet these people, they deserve decent life because they are working class. But the sad thing, Ambassador, even after giving them 15,000 US dollars, it does not change their lives. They were given 40,000 in 2018 when I was in Juba, and they did not change anything. So there is another thing that the government should do to change the life of its staff or the people that are working under the government. But giving them money, no matter even if you give each one of them 1 million, I don't think whether it will change their life for better and give them decent housing and decent life. Thank you for your remark and thank you for your questions. Honorable Lual, you can answer those questions accordingly. Then we will end our show and the discussions will remain in a clubhouse. Thank you.
Yeah, Young Makur, I will not go much on this. This is not even a question. It's a comment. It's how you feel, and that's how normally the social media gets out of control. Because normally, what happens? Someone attacks you, and then you react to the attack, and then you attack back, and that's what people love to do. I think I am too old for that. Enough. Time has come to just make our points. Honestly, that's what the roundtable is about. If there are people who think that 600 MP is a good thing to have, and even is willing to put 12 million people as MPs, as what he was saying. If you think that is a good option, okay, that's fine. Let's put that into roundtable. That could be his idea. You know, what I was saying are just suggestions. They are not final. You know, so that's all I can do. But I don't want to. I know David Amor. I've seen him talking in Clubhouse many times, and I don't want to go personal with him. If you think that what he said is true, okay, that's him. You know, I don't want to argue with him.
Sorry to cut you, Honorable. You don't need to let it go all his remark, but his questions, the first question was very clear and specific. That what is the difference between Rome peace talk and round table? So maybe you can briefly respond to that, to let him and maybe other public members who might be having the same questions, give benefit of doubt to them and clear their thoughts. Thank you.
Yeah, true. That I think that's the only question he has. Yeah, I think the difference we talked about earlier when we started the show actually, and Rome initiative is a peace initiative that was mediated by Rome, and we've been negotiating with the government for the last 4 or 5 years, and we are trying to reach a political settlement. We have been negotiating for the last 3 years with the government there. That being said, the roundtable is something that is inclusive to all South Sudanese. So it's going to include all the opposition groups. It's going to include all it's going to include government. It is going to include women. It's going to include faith-based organizations. It's going to include youth. It's going to include everyone. So this is where people will come and sit and share ideas. I'm sure this is really the intention of Roundtable. It's not a place where we distribute positions and all that. No, it is a place where we talk about the future of our country. And I think you asked that question at the beginning, and I answered it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable, for that clarification. That the Rome peace talk is different from roundtable conference. It's clear now. Yes, I received a message that there are still more 2 or 3 questions with Abraham Adit. Kindly, if anyone is about to ask questions, it should be questions, at least to save our time. And remember, I said earlier, our discussions will continue going on in Clubhouse, or will ongoing in Clubhouse actually. Then the one of live stream, we will end it because we were having discussions and interview one-on-one with Honorable Lual rather. If there is any more questions in Clubhouse, kindly, you can throw in before we end the show. Thank you. Abraham Adit, is there any more questions? Isaac Tiang, and if not, then we can.
Yes, there is. There is
Okay.
a question. I'm asking Abraham Adit to ask those in Clubhouse, whether it's 2 or 3 people, they have to ask questions at the same time after each other, such that Honorable Lual Dau will answer them at once. So please, Abraham Madid, if there are people who have questions in Clubhouse, put them online one after each other. After they finish, this is where we will close the show. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Isaac. Okay, so let me say this: CPI and hang on, Moses. CPI and Comrade, you and Moses and Wilson. So you three will ask your question. CPI, you are the next to ask your question, please, based on the topic that we are discussing. So CPI, go ahead with your question. One question.
Thank you, my neighbor General Madit, and all the few those who come here to. Madit,
Madit, mute yourself.
Yeah, and all our comrade freedom fighter Moses is here, Equatorian citizen, and all the people from colonial South Sudan who are here. Not forgetting also to greet your guest, hello, Lual Dau, from the from South Sudan United Front and Army of General Paul Molong. This is General Charles Pearson, a chairman and commander-in-chief of Equatorial Bloc for Equality and Justice Movement. We're a separatist movement. I'm an proud Equatorian citizen from the Federal Democratic Republic of Equatoria. My question is to General Lual. The National Consensus Forum, that is changed now from non-signatories group, is not a bad idea. But you first of all, I want to remind a question that was asked by Ambassador David, which said that you, the leaders of the non-signatory group, have stolen money, and you went with money, and you as chairman, Molong, went with the back of money. You did not. You skipped that question. But I just want to remind that. My question is, you talk about the National Consensus Forum. Will the National Consensus Forum remove the Dinka who are colonizing Equatoria, who are living in Equatoria, all states, and forcing Equatorians to leave? Will make them go back to their own land?
Okay.
Peacefully? Number two.
Okay.
Number two.
CPI, Charlie, hang on a second. You are out of the topic. That's not the.
How many Dinkas who live in your area?
Hang on, David.
Two.
CPI, that's not a relevant question. But we are talking about the Rome peace.
Let me go to number two.
So you are out of the topic. Please let me move to the next. So
number two. Wait, Madit, I did not move out of the topic. That's
no. Charles and Moses, you two, I will drop you two because you are not contribute to the topic.
Please, Madit. Okay, let it be a Dinka discussion. Go ahead. Move me out. You just go. We don't even want you. Get out of there. Please.
Okay. Comrade, you will go ahead. You'll go ahead. Is your turn. Ask your question.
Comrade Madid, is it my turn?
Yes, go ahead. It's your turn. Ask your question, and Wilson.
First of all, thank you very much, Comrade Madid, and Comrade Honorable Lual Dau, Honorable David, and Comrade Wilson. I greet you all and the listeners. My questions will be just, I will narrate it into two. Comrade Madid, we have went through many sort of peace agreement, from peace over peace, from Abuja 1, Abuja 2, and then CPA, Comprehensive Peace Agreement, and then we have Arusha Agreement, and then now we have RCIS, which is in progress, and as a result of all these conflicts, we end up with more than 72 parties. I want to ask Honorable, what mechanism will you use to convince all the 72 plus parties so that they can go for the round table? That is number one. Number two, is this round table will be inclusive, as you said, in alliance with the government, or is it a proposal that will be submitted for the government and you guys will be waiting for the approval? So, because I don't see that there is an agreement, if it has been stated before, then I was sorry for that. But we need to know, as a citizen, we need to know whether the government, which is now we call it the government of national unity, will they be inclusive to join this round table, so that the round table is important than the peace agreement in progress? So these are the two questions that I was going to find out for the clarification. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's move. Wilson, go ahead.
Hello, Madi.
Yeah, hello, Wilson. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, my question to Honorable Lual is, I think it's been asked already, but I may rephrase it in a different way. You know, the issue of round table. I want to know who is holding the round table, and who is funding it, and where it's going to be. And they are talking about youth and all other groups. How those groups are going to come, who will transport them, and how they're going to make it. That's the one question. Another question is, something come up always from the opposition, from specifically from Equatorian region, calling your leader Malong that he's not enough opposition or Ineda. He's just a buyer. What can you tell to South Sudanese to convene such a language like that not to be repeated? That's my second question, because it's been repeated so many times, and that makes so many thinkers who are in the opposition side reluctant if the other South Sudanese are pointing Pacific group that you are not enough rebel, you just sent by the government. So that's my second question. But again, back to the round table. Is the round table to replace 2018 that have a document with the power sharing? You know, this round table have a lot of questions, but because you guys cannot be found, yesterday I went to show that host by Majasip, but I did not get a chance. So I will stop here because of time, but these are my few questions. If you did not hear them good later, let me know, I can repeat them. Thank you.
Thank you, Wilson. Dr. Madud, go ahead.
Hello, brother.
Introduce yourself, Madud, because I know you are members of SSUF, so introduce yourself.
Madida, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you? Welcome.
You know, I have no question to Honorable Lual Dau, just greeting him, but I have question for Lady State Media. I'm a little bit confused, brothers. You know, I don't even understand what is going on in Lady State. For 1 week, you guys are running a Williams citizenship and interview them. It started from Wegating, and now Honorable Lual Dau, and next week will be, or maybe tomorrow will be Sholo Duang. So I don't know what is going on. Do you think that the consequence of or even condition we have now in South Sudan, do you think that Williams are the root cause of problem, or what are you looking for? It's a question for you, but not Honorable Lual Dau. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Maduri. Did that question go to me or go to Lake State Media or Okay, to answer your question, so we interviewed those guests because we don't invite, they request Lake State Media, we can host them, and we did. So I will answer that way. So, and also Lake State Media is not, we don't take a side, so we bring person that want to be interviewed in our media platform, we welcome and invite. So thank you. Okay, Isaac, you can give a chance to Lual Dau to go ahead and answer those questions, and then we can close our live show in Facebook and YouTube, and then we can remain in Clubhouse for more discussion. Thank you. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Abraham. Honorable Lual, you can continue to answer the question that you have noted down, and then we will close the show in the StreamYard, and in the Clubhouse will continue. Thank you.
Yeah, very good. The first question is regarding what mechanism we are going to use to select the participant into the Roundtable Conference. That one, there are going to be two groups. There are a group of opposition groups that are going to be part of Roundtable Conference, and we are already doing that. Now all the opposition groups are coming under National Consensus Forum, NCF, and everyone that is part of that NCF will be party into the Roundtable Conference. Also, and also that NCF includes religious-based organizations, includes civil society, include academia and professionals, includes opposition groups. So that will be a bloc that is outside of the country. Inside of the country, of course, there were opposition groups or part of the government now, which is called the Government of National Unity. Everyone that is a part to that, that were identified by IGAD automatically will become part of Roundtable Conference. Plus, also must include religious leaders within the country, faith-based organizations within the country, civil societies, and academia and professionals within the country. That is very much the principle of selecting of who should be part into Roundtable Conference. Another question was asking whether this is just a proposal to be submitted to the government and the government will decide on it. No, we are not submitting it to the government. We are inviting the government to be part and to join us so that we all sit as brothers and sisters of the Republic of South Sudan and try to solve how we can develop our country. In regard to questions asked by Brother Wilson, who is hosting the roundtable and who is financing that I cannot answer right now. We are looking for the host and we are also looking for someone to fund. Also the location, I cannot say specific location, but I can say that the roundtable will take place outside of the country. It's not going to be in South Sudan, simply because we want everyone to come freely and contribute freely. Those are the questions that I would like to answer. With that, I thank you very much, and we look to interact more.
Thank you so much, Honorable Lual Dau. We appreciate your presence in Lagos State Media, and I have to say thank you for all our followers and viewers who have posted their question in the clubhouse. We have to say thank you, all of you. The interview will end here, and we will catch up again if we have another time. Have a good time, good day, good night, good afternoon, wherever you are tuning in. May God bless you. May God bless South Sudan. May God bless all of us. Thank you. Have a good time.
Thank you.
It's your boy Young Love, I give him that thing. Pancho leg stand and punchy America. Banyi doll, banaban. Pancho leg stand and punchy America. Banyi doll, banaban. Walk on your leg, kankaro water no watching. Oga leg, gear, bow, very leg. Panda with ya, punchy America. Panya doll, bano. Chingatongo pandon, could you ever buy a check out? Papu panda gear, what ya be doll, venting. Stand and punchy America, Banyi doll, Banaban, Panta leg stand and punchy America, Banyi doll, Banaban, walk on your leg, Kankaro, what on a watching, Oga leg, gear, bow, very leg, Panda with ya, punchy America, Panya Dwalabano, Chingatongo Pandon, could you ever buy a check out, Panda gear, what ya be, Dwalabanting.